Today's conversation is going to be a very deep and vulnerable conversation. It is also a conversation that I think that we should have these kind of conversations, and we should have that depth and the honesty and the authenticity, and in the journey that we are on, we should have these type of conversations. So today the conversation is, where do we play small in our lives? Where do we play small? And this is a little bit of a triggering conversation because it is hard for us to admit those places where we're hiding. It is hard for us to confess that we're playing small, we're dimming our light, we're not living our true purpose. And I have been in that situation multiple times in my life. So today I first want to take you through my story, the story of really stepping finally in my true purpose, my story of playing big. And I also want to share with you stories with my clients and stories with people that I'm surrounded with who are truly embodying their purpose, who are truly playing big. But before I even start that conversation, I want you to take for a moment right now, just a moment of your time, and I want you to think, is there a person right now who you can bring to your mind, a person who also needs to hear this conversation, a person who also needs to hear this conversation about opening up, expanding, a person right now in your life who is going through a journey and you want them to be here and hear this conversation, because I'm going to get really, really deep today. And in the last couple of months, for me, it has been all about depth and truth, and not just showing up and speaking for the sake of speaking and showing up, but truly creating impact through my words. So if right now you can bring to the top of your mind a person who has to hear this conversation about playing big, I invite you to send them this video. Let them watch this. Because this is truly going to be the story of evolution. Evolution of the soul, evolution of being a human being and experiencing life as it is, the journey of expansion, the journey of evolution in my business, and how life plays such an interesting game. And sometimes we can't even predict for a moment, where are we going to be? Like, looking back a year from now, I would have never, ever thought I'm going to be living the life that I'm living right now. So for those of you who are jumping in, watching this video, you have no idea who I am. My name is Ayo, and I am a business and leadership mentor. My journey started 12 years ago, so I have been in this industry for over 12 years. I work with people, and my main intention when I work with people is to really take them to another level in their business, another level when it comes to wealth, success, expression, personal power, impact, truly embodying who they are, their highest self possible, and seeing what is possible for them. I work with high achieving entrepreneurs, people who also want to change this world, people who are also creating brands and businesses that we're not just here to pretend and play the game of I am an entrepreneur, but we are here to truly shift something. We are the real game changers. And so, I want to share with you today a couple of stories. And I want you to sit back, relax, and watch this video and not take any notes, but just be with me in the energy of what I'm going to share with you. When I started my journey in this field, I was working with huge companies, huge corporations in their marketing and advertising teams. I used to work for National Geographic. I used to travel the world. That was early in my 20s, and it was honestly phenomenal. If you would have told me 20 years ago that I would be doing what I was doing in my 20s, I wouldn't believe you. I would be like, that's not possible. How is that even possible? And the reason for that is, as I was growing up, I remember I was 8 years old when I sat down and I created my first life script. At that time, I had no idea what it is to create a life script. Like, zero idea. I was 8 years old, and I was just thinking, okay, well, who do I want to be? Because when people were asking me, who do you want to be? Like, what do you want to work? It was so difficult for me to put it in words. And so one day, I was with my dad, and we were watching TV. And I remember we watched this episode on National Geographic about elephants. And I was so mesmerized, and I was so impressed. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be amazing if one day I can do this? Wouldn't it be amazing if one day I can be a journalist, I can be in Africa, and I can travel, and I can explore all this, and I can be in this totally different world, a world that no one around me has experienced. And so as I was growing and really getting myself into this vision, and I had it all written down, so when I was 8 years old, I sat down and I wrote down my future self and how I want to be. It almost seemed impossible. And when I would share it with people, people will look at me like, and where I come from, I'm originally born in Bulgaria. I grew up in Bulgaria. This is an extremely poor country. People have different priorities in Bulgaria. The mindset is totally different. It was almost unheard of. People could not imagine that happening. And I was going through my high school, and nobody could relate to that. It was totally out of their world. It was like, that's impossible. That will never ever happen. And so I grew up with a lot of hate around me. I grew up with a lot of people seeing my achievements. I was an overachiever in school. I was the best performing in school all the time. And I would always strive for more and more and more and more. And it was pissing off people so much. And at one point, I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take it anymore. I didn't want to I didn't want it to disturb people. I didn't want to be the person who was intimidating people. I didn't want to upset people. And so I thought, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't talk about that. And so I stopped talking about that, and I would only share this vision of myself and about myself only with a very limited amount of people. And so my circle started getting smaller because I couldn't express myself. I felt that huge, enormous, gigantic force in me. And I couldn't let it out. I couldn't, because nobody around me, and again, where I come from, operating from that space is almost unheard of. And I used to be the weird one. I used to be the weird one who never fits. And I couldn't fit. I couldn't fit in small conversations. I couldn't go out with friends my age when I was a teenager because the conversations were way too small. I started reading Eckhart Tolle and The Power of Now when I was 12 years old. And I craved so much connection with people and finding friendship and finding authentic friendship. And so I started to dim myself down, lower myself down. Let's not have these conversations, let alone tell people what I want to achieve. When I left Bulgaria and I went to study in the Netherlands, I went to study journalism, and I would share my vision, and I would tell people, hey, I want to do this, and I want to go in Africa, and I want to travel the world, and I want to work for Nat Geo, and I want to produce this amazing content, and I want to be this person, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. And people will just sit and stare at me and be like, okay, I don't think that is possible, but fine. Do you know how many times in my life I have been told it's impossible? So many times. I was told that it is impossible to go and study the master degree that I did because they were allowing a very selected number of people. 10 people in the whole world. And by then, there was no Eastern European in my degree. And so they told me, Ayo, that's incredible, but we don't think you will make it. And I was like, really? Okay, let's see. I was one of the first to be admitted in because I couldn't process the fact that I can be mediocre and live a life like that. I just couldn't. So sharing my story with all the lecturers, sharing my story with people around me, they couldn't take it. And it was painful for me. It was painful because most of the time when people would share their vision and the whole room will be like, oh my God, that's amazing. We love that vision. Yay. And I will share my vision and people will be like, okay, well, I don't know if you're going to get that. And so instead of bathing and enjoying myself and what I am building, it was always like I had to defend myself. I had to defend why I don't want to play small. Because in the shares, there will be people sharing that after they graduate and they do their degree, they want to go back to their home and work in the local newspaper. Well, I didn't. And here's the thing, most did. Most graduated and went back and they worked for the small local newspaper, or they did something completely else. But I didn't. I knew what I wanted and I wanted it so much, and I had everybody telling me it's impossible. Everybody was telling me it is not possible. I didn't have even one person besides my mom. She's amazing. She supports me all the time. Not even my partner. Even my partner was skeptical. He was like, I don't want you to feel disappointed. And that's the thing. We play small because we don't want to feel disappointed. Because disappointment hurts so bad. And our system as human beings will do anything possible for us to avoid disappointment. We will do anything to avoid disappointment. In fact, we would live a life where we're not happy about our life and we will complain, but we think we're playing safe. How many times have you been in a situation where you want something and you want it so much, but you're not 100% in it because you want to play safe? Because disappointment hurts, because failure hurts, and your nervous system, your ego, your subconscious mind will do anything to protect you from the feeling of disappointment. I didn't fear disappointment. And the reason why I didn't feel disappointment was because I experienced the biggest disappointment in my life when I was 12 years old, when my father got very sick and nobody could save him. Nobody. We literally invested our family's wealth. My family used to be very well financially. We invested all of our wealth to save my dad, and it didn't work. And I remember when he passed away, for 3 months, I couldn't scrape myself from the bed because of that, because of disappointment. You know when they say something breaks your heart? It didn't break my heart. It tore my heart. And you know the thing, what happens with a muscle? For all of you who go to the gym, when you exercise, when you lift heavy and you start tearing the muscle apart, what happens? It starts rebuilding itself. And because that process happened, your muscle became stronger. And that's what happened with my heart. I felt totally like as if they gave me the biggest shot against the feeling of disappointment. When you lose a parent, when you lose someone who you love so much, nothing else fucking matters. Nothing. Like every single disappointment that comes in the face of friendships, in the face of, oh, this didn't work, oh, I had a failed launch, oh, I'm quitting my business. It's like when you went through such a heartbreak, you're like, okay, let's try again. That's nothing. So for all of you who are watching with a story like that, you know how it feels. You feel invincible. Like you're so strong that the desire in you to play bigger is incredible. And sometimes we cannot understand why certain things happen a certain way. It is because if certain things didn't happen to you, you would not be prepared to play bigger. And so, all my life was preparing me for that moment when that huge dream of mine, when I was 8 years old, that little girl, 8 years old, was an angio, and it happened. And those who were like, I remember I had neighbors, guys. I had neighbors who were telling me, oh, you want to be a journalist? Why don't you become a doctor? Like, you're so smart. And I'm like, guys, I'm going to travel the whole world. Do you understand my life, how it's going to look like? And when it happened, instead of people celebrating me, they hated me. My friends, I lost so many of my friends. I lost my partner because I was playing so big. He just couldn't catch up. And I lost everybody. Everyone. Everyone around me who energetically was of low vibration, who wasn't playing big, they just dissipated. And I was very alone. And yes, I was fearful. Is this going to last? But soon new people started to come in, new opportunities. It was almost like, oh my God, okay, next level. And for real, it felt like next level. And my life felt incredible. My life felt like, is this really my life? And I lived like that for 4 years in a penthouse in Cape Town, looking at the ocean, traveling the world, working for the biggest organization in the world, doing what I love. And it was incredible. And one night, I was like, oh my God, is that it? Did I really achieve everything I wanted to achieve? And it was scary. It didn't feel safe. It felt scary. I was 26 years old and it felt scary. Oh my God, I have achieved literally my biggest dream in my life and I don't have something else. And you know, as humans, when we achieve something, we aim for the bigger thing. And I started lowering that voice down. I was like, nope, be grateful, because you know how people tell you, don't want more, be grateful, you're ungrateful. Don't be ungrateful, don't want more, you shouldn't want more. You've got it, especially if you are a woman. Let me know in the comments when you're watching this, or reach out to me. How many times, just because you are a female, and I love my guys, don't get me wrong, I'm not the kind of a person who likes to put nails down, but how many times, just because you're a woman, it was like, stop wanting so more. If it is a guy, he can want the whole world, but if you're a woman, don't want more. You made money, don't want more. You want more money? I'm facing right now huge roadblocks with people around me because I'm in a stage of wealth coming in my world, like huge wealth, and people don't get me because I want more wealth, because I see the opportunities, because more wealth right now brings me the opportunity to live a life of traveling the world, meeting new people, treating my clients in a completely different way, so I don't need to be in a scarcity type of mode. Because of the fact that I'm experiencing this wealth, my clients experience it through me. My family, I was able to book my mom a VIP room. I was able to send her, literally organize the biggest. They brought her a bouquet bigger than what I can show you. Like, it was this huge. Because of that, I was able to donate every single month for my favorite charity in India. I'm able to take my friends out and pay for everything. I'm able to tell my partner if he has a low month, be like, I got it, I'll take care of this. I'm able to say, I'm going to buy my house cash. And sometimes people don't understand. They don't. And so, here I was, 26 years old, living my best life, having everything, and being in a relationship that wasn't fulfilling. In fact, it was a horrible, toxic relationship. But I thought, don't want more, stop playing big. You've played big the whole time. And I had this thing that my partners before that could not play big with me. And I had to go. And it was so painful loving someone, really loving them and seeing who they are, but seeing they play small. And here's the thing. You can only do as much for other people. Even if it is a partner, even if it is your client, you can only do as much. You can only help people as much to grow. And if they don't want to do that, if there's all the resistance in the world, it is not your fucking burden. I will get into relationships where I will literally be a supernova and I will deal with a small person, but I will dim my light down because I don't want to scare them. I don't want to scare the masculine. Be in your feminine and, and I will dim my light. And so I couldn't leave that relationship because I thought, well, In all of these situations, it was me. But it wasn't that. I played so small in that relationship that I allowed a person to mistreat me and treat me in a way that right now I would not even stand that behavior for one night. I'll be like, I'm out. That's why now with so many of my clients, and it's so interesting how the world brings into my life so many, not even women, men as well, who are dealing with narcissists. It's wild. And I know now, why did I have to be with a narcissist for 4 years to be able, when another person comes to me, and see it and speak out? Because here's what happens. We get a person, could be our friend, somebody, even a client, and they share with you, my partner is this and this and this. And in your head is like, me, narcissist alert, me. And a lot of the time people remain silent. They don't say anything because it's not my job to intervene in your relationship. I cannot fucking do that. And if you are the kind of a person, when you hear somebody being mistreated and you're just like, it bubbles in you and you're like, I want to support this person and help them. I'm that kind of a person. I can't keep my mouth shut. Impossible. Sometimes I even hear things and I'm like, did that just go out of me? Oops. Did I just say that? But I had to go through this relationship to identify exactly how I was playing small. And looking back now, I played the smallest possible. But I thought, you know what? I'm powerful enough. I'm big enough. I'm strong enough to pull myself together and get both of us out of this situation. And it costed so much. Have you been in a relationship where you pour so much in the other person that you forget about yourself? You get lost, like totally lost. I remember very well, one night I woke up 4 a.m. in the morning, and I woke up for the very first time I experienced anxiety in my life. I was 26 years old, actually a little bit older. That was when I was already 28 years old, and I woke up for the first time with anxiety. I didn't know what that is. You see, in my culture, anxiety and depression, they're like, that doesn't exist. Get yourself together. That's the attitude. Nobody knew about my relationship and how I felt because I felt small. And I was this woman who is super independent, super powerful. If you are that kind of a person, you know the feeling when you're so big in some areas and you're so powerful, and there's something, whether it is your relationship or you're so brilliant and for some reason your program flops, your business flops, there's a dip, like 6 months, nothing is coming in, and you're like, I can't, like, if people find this thing about me. And that's exactly how I was and how I felt. And I couldn't ignore it anymore. I just couldn't. 4 a.m., I'm next to this person. And I'm like, I cannot spend my life with you. You're literally destroying me. And I cannot stay in that job because that's not who I am. Do you sometimes watch people who are living their purpose and they are so fucking happy, and you're like, I wish it was me? And that's how I felt. And it was so heartbreaking. It was so heartbreaking because I wanted this since I was 8. And I didn't want it anymore. And I felt ungrateful. And I felt so much guilt that I'm leaving a team who adores me. But I had to do it. And so I sent an email to the team and I said, guys, this is my last month. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I want to be an entrepreneur. I don't feel myself here. I don't feel I'm leading. Not to mention, there were so many times I didn't feel heard. Yes, I was traveling the world. I was doing so many things. It was all phenomenal. But I was the only woman. Not to mention, I was the youngest woman in the room. And I felt muted many of the times. I felt like, don't you hear me? I'm saying something. And I couldn't tolerate it. I could not tolerate it anymore. And so, here I am, 4 a.m. in the bed, typing, hello, I am leaving this job because I want to be an entrepreneur. And my boss literally laughed. And he was like, do you know how difficult this is? Being an entrepreneur is not easy. You will fail. I called my brothers the next day and I told my brothers, and one of my brothers freaked out. He was like, what? You are making all this money. You are literally living your dream. What are you doing? I told my partner, and my partner was shocked. Everybody was shocked. My friends were, what are you doing? And even they were trying to be supportive, they just couldn't get it. Because none of my friends at that time was an entrepreneur. For those of you watching, if you're an entrepreneur and you were surrounded, or if you're still surrounded by people who are not entrepreneurs, they cannot get it. They can't. It's impossible. Their brain cannot comprehend what it means to be an entrepreneur. It's a lot. Oh my God. It's like being a mom on steroids. That's how it feels like. Not that I've been a mom, so I don't know, but that's how it feels like. You get me? Not only did I do that, I quit my job, but I quit my relationship as well. And I was like, fuck this. I'm leaving this. I'm leaving Cape Town, the dream city. And I thought, guys, this is it. I'm going to buy houses here. I was even looking for houses. It all crumbled and fell apart. And nobody understood. Total, oh, what are you doing? But I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take the reality of not living my purpose. And that was not my purpose. All I knew at that moment was, I want to have a bigger impact. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do these things. I have 12 years of experience in the marketing industry and sales and social media and writing and managing teams. I don't know. And I used to be a freelancer, so I used to freelance for so many different companies for years. So I had so much experience. But my head was like, how can I have this impact? Huge impact. I want to have impact. I want to change the world. I want to do something. It's like almost like, you came with this program in your head. Change the world. Change the world. And you're not doing it. And it's like error, reroute, error, reroute. Yeah, that's how I felt. And it didn't make sense. But it came. And I thought, why don't I open a huge marketing agency? I've already done all these things. It's going to be amazing. Let's go and do that. No joke, literally the next day, I ended up in hospital almost dying. And tell me, please share with me again in the comments or send me a DM, share your experience. But have you ever been in a situation where you're ready for a huge up level, and your body gives up? It's the worst. we will speak about that later in this video. But have you been in a situation where you're ready for the up level and your body gives up? It happens to me very often. So when I jump to a higher income month, something happens. Even last month, which was my highest cash month for 2022, something happened to my body. 4 days, it was like I was so sick and I couldn't figure it out. And then the money came and I was like, oh, that's why. Every time. I don't know why. Let me know if you experience that. But I'm working on it. That's also, that little thing in your head. Play small, gonna make you sick for you to play small. Maybe it's that. And so, here I am, ready to open my company finally, because I've been freelancing for a really long time. Let's do this. And I get sick, and I get in the hospital, and I almost die. And the doctors tell me, for a whole month, you shouldn't do anything. You should just rest, you should just relax, and that's it. And I was like, well, I'm starting my new company and I better make it work. And also I had the huge pressure of my ex-boss and my family, of like people literally being like, when are you gonna fuck up? You said you're gonna do this business thing? I hope you fuck up, so it was wrong. People will literally look. Guys, can you imagine that? Can you imagine, like, instead of having people who support you, people looking and being like, you gonna fuck up, and I'm gonna put a treat in your face when you fuck up, because that's how it is. Woo, woo, woo. So I went out of the hospital and I thought 1 month is going to literally screw up everything. And on top of all, I paid a bill of $80,000 in the hospital. Because I was a foreigner. I didn't have any insurance or anything. It was ridiculous how much money I had to pay. So I was like, fantastic. I have only $300 and I need to make things work. And at the same time, people are telling me, don't do anything. So I had two options: play small or go all fucking in. And I did. I went all fucking in. I hired a mentor. I paid him $8,000. $8,000 at that point was like, that was my rent, because I was living very fancy. But I was just like, what? It wasn't the perfect mentor, but it was something, okay? When I look back, I'm just like, holy crap, whoa. You've probably been there when your first mentor, you look back. For those of you who work with the same mentor and you're very happy, I love that for you. But you've probably had the first time when your mentor was like, you're like, I'm never ever going back there. That was the experience. I hired a mentor because I thought, I'm all in. Let's go and do it. I created my vision and everything. I created my website for 1 day because I already had experience in that. I created everything, the whole branding, everything, 1 day. Poof. I registered my company 1 day. Poof. And I went out with my tiny little iPad. I love telling this story to everybody who is complaining that they don't have clients and they can't make it and it's so difficult. Well, I had my iPad with my presentation, sick, like being out of the hospital, fresh out of the hospital. Everybody was like, you cannot go out. I had a really severe issue. And I walked the longest street in Cape Town. The neighborhood is called Sea Point, so for everybody who's from South Africa, shout out. And that street is famous for really high-end salons, hair salons, spas. They have a lot of gym studios and all that. And at that point, I thought, you know what? I'm going to have a marketing agency and my niche is going to be these kind of businesses, because I've always been into health. I've always been into that space. So I'm going to be great with that. And I door knocked. I knocked on doors. So when I hear people coming to me right now being like, I don't want to sound spammy. I don't want to sell my offers. I don't know if that's a good idea to send them an invitation because I don't want to bother them. I knocked on people's doors because I didn't have a fucking plan B. I didn't. There was only one plan. Plan A. That's it. There was no other plan for me. And so I door knocked again. If you guys haven't done door knocking as a salesperson, it is the real hardcore thing. And so I did. But you know what? Here's what helped. First of all, my heart is very open. For those of you who work with me, for those of you who have been in my world, I work with my heart. My heart leads everything. For those of you who work with me, I'm the kind of a person who's no bullshit. I'm not gonna bullshit. I'm very honest. I'm very authentic. If something doesn't work, I tell my clients, this is not going to work. I also lead with a lot of confidence because of the years of experience. Let's be honest. Experience matters. It does matter. It does matter. It makes a difference when you've been in the industry for a decade and if you just did a tiny little course and now you think you're great. Years of experience. So I knew that I can help these people. I knew I have a good heart. I knew that my soul will attract the right people. We were speaking 5 years ago. I knew. And people felt it too. They did. And so the first day I signed 6 retainer clients from door knocking. Totally different world. Oh my God. And I went back home and my ex was there. And he used to have a huge company that we grew together. I helped my ex hit his first million. And he was like, oh my gosh, none of my salespeople for the very first day have success like that. I was like, yeah, that's because I'm not everyone. Yeah. I've been always leading with that. I'm not average. I'm not mediocre. There is force here. And I told a client of mine a couple of days ago, we had a conversation. When you feel small, remember that in another dimension, somewhere else, in another lifetime, you were a fucking royalty. You were powerful. Just because right now life plays in a different way and you chose a different role, just because now it could be a little bit difficult for you, just because now things might not come straight away, just because now it might feel in a certain way, just because now you might have failed, you might feel smaller, does not mean that simultaneously, right now, somewhere, you're not fucking crushing it. And I want you to embody that. So if you take something from today's conversation, I want you to take that. And I will say it again. If right now you feel like something is putting you down, if you feel like you haven't expressed, you haven't exploded, you haven't like embodied all you want to be, and you feel down because other people do it, remember, in another space, in another dimension, in another reality, we don't know how powerful you are. You can be a fucking god, goddess in that space. Feel that. And so, here it is, my first company. Yes, let's go. And I was crushing it. Guys, it was so good. The growth was tremendous. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It was so powerful that I couldn't handle it alone. And so I started my second agency, and my second agency crushed it. Crushed it. Huge success. Hundreds of people serviced. So many people coming to us. And it was not only the service and the delivery, it was a whole experience. It was brilliant. Until it wasn't again. And I remember that moment very, very well when I looked at myself in the mirror and I asked myself, this cannot be it. Is that it? And if that is it, why it doesn't feel right? It just doesn't. It doesn't make me happy. Like, I'm making so much money and it doesn't make me feel happy. I remember I had 4 months of consecutive 100% close rate. We were crushing it. I've never seen so much money in my life in my bank account. Ding, ding, every day. Ding, ding, ding. And I felt empty. I didn't feel it. I felt dry. It's like, you know that moment when you look at someone who you loved and you're like, I'm not in love anymore. And it's because you have outgrown that. And I was in a situation where I couldn't express myself. I was surrounded by people, by co-founders and team members. I couldn't express myself. I had to keep myself so small. I wanted to mentor. I wanted to be a powerful coach. I wanted to speak about energetics. I wanted to speak about feminine, masculine. I wanted to speak about money and wealth and how to do that. And I wanted to speak about personal power. And I wanted to speak about being a badass woman. And I wanted to bring all these things. And it was all the time, no. That's not us. That's not how we do things. And I started growing smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And it was so painful. And it didn't work even when I bring it, because there was such a negative vibe around it. People didn't believe in it. It was like, again, this hocus pocus woo things. There was so much masculine energy. There was such a lack of alignment, boxed and pretended that there is alignment. It was painful. Here I was, actually a year ago from now. All of a sudden, the business started going down. We were going like this. And it started going down. The atmosphere in the business changed. The friendships changed. Everything changed. All of a sudden, clients started complaining more. We had to raise our prices because it was the right thing to do based on the industry. And clients who we've been so loyal, we've done work for clients, extra work, extra. When we had the conversation, hey, our prices are going up, they started bitching and complaining. People became so ungrateful when we started trying to put boundaries and reshaping the industry. It was horrible. People who I've been on calls, holding them, they were crying and falling apart when we said, hey, from September, our prices are slowly going up. We just wanted to give you a notice. Oh my God. We were good when we were slaving and we were pleasing, and when we started really standing for who we are and how we are, people turned around. Some stayed, some were happy. The rest disappeared. We've built their businesses and their wealth. It was me and my team who fucking built your business. And yet people left ungrateful, without compassion. People played small. And that part for me was also like, I don't want people who are playing small. I want people, when I tell them our prices are going up, I want people to be like, yes. And that's exactly what I need to do with my business as well. Because there's inflation the whole time. Because I deserve it. Not questioning and policing my business and like belittling, but it wasn't there. And I felt even more boxed. What truly was happening was the universe truly being like, Hey, you said you want to grow and you said you want to walk in your purpose, but you didn't. So I'm giving it to you, woman. And I resisted it. My whole body, everything. I was so scared. You have no idea. I was so scared. And so I stayed. And I stayed. And I stayed. Until the universe was even more direct. You're playing small. There was one night I literally went through the dark night of the soul. And I heard a voice. And I screamed. And I literally said, I cannot live with you anymore. And I was speaking to myself. I couldn't live with myself anymore. I just couldn't. It was impossible. I couldn't do it. I couldn't. Sorry, but I can't. I knew that I will disappoint people. I knew that relationships will be broken. I knew that everything will burn to the ground, and it was scary. It was scary because everything was burned to the ground, because the new vision that I had was not fitting the old vision. It wasn't like, oh, we will just now get to the next level. No, it was like, we can't use this house anymore. We need a brand new house. That was the experience. Have you ever lived in an apartment, in a house, in a place that you just look around and you're like, I need to move to a different country? That's how I felt. And that's exactly what happened. And it was scary because I had to destroy email lists, groups, followers, accounts, websites, products, payment, everything that I've built with sweat and tears and pushing and hours went like that. And I had to do it because I couldn't play small anymore. My biggest version was coming, and I remember midnight 2021, beginning of 2022, I said this is going to be one of the greatest years I've ever had. And it started very shitty. The first few months were very, very shitty financially, any shape and form. Shit everywhere, people. It was tough. It was very tough. But I knew if God has placed this desire in my soul for expansion, for wealth, for doing what I want, it has to happen. And so I relaunched my whole business. I relaunched a program that I am totally in love with. It's called Path to Profit. It's for entrepreneurs who are scaling to the next level. And I did it my way. I didn't do it the way people are teaching, with the modules that they're teaching. I wanted something different in the industry that works, because I was so over of people complaining that business does not work for them. Their mentors are not helping them. Raise your head and let me know. Let me know in the comments if you've worked with mentors and it didn't work. And it wasn't because of you. I didn't want that. I wanted to provide a service and an offer and coaching that I want myself. And I had to be super brave, because I had to be, this is what I want, and I'm fucking claiming it with the words that I want, with the modules that I want, with the energy that I want, and I don't care about anything. And so I did. And then the Empress program came, which was an even bigger unfolding, and it was so scary. It was so scary because I was surrounded by all these women who already did so many programs like that before me, because I had a marketing agency and I was coaching people how to do business, how to do marketing, how to do that and that and that and that. And I thought, I'm not good enough. How can I teach energetics? Who am I to teach energetics? Because there's this person and there's this person and there's this person and this person, and all I've been teaching people is how to build a business through strategy. I can't do it. My inner critique was like, you can't do this. And not only my inner critique, there was a lot of people around me, co-founders, people who work with me at that time, who are super playing small, like the smallest. I can't do this. That's not who I am. And I understand that. I totally understand that. But if you're playing small, if you choose to play small, and hear me out, for all of you watching that, if somebody in your life chooses to play small, that's their choice. You don't have to be in the same vehicle as them. Call an Uber, get out. They don't have to be in the driver's seat. If somebody playing small is in the driver's seat and you want to go further and they're like, oh my God, I'm too tired, I can't do this. Get out of the car. Find your car. Drive a car. Be in the front seat. And that's what I did. It was so clear to me. And I made a decision. That's it. I was just like, that is it. If I'm doing the Empress program, if I'm going to lead this container and teach women personal empowerment, money, strategies, even strategy, but how to live their life super courageously and bold and change the world, I need to do it myself. I need to do it. I need to be that person. I need to be that person. And so I had to step in radical responsibility. Radical responsibility. I had to step into leadership. Radical leadership as well. Super stretching. Be a leader. Lead myself every single day. No, but it's hard. I can't make that decision and burn everything down. Do you want to be in your purpose? Yes, I want. Do you want to be all in? Yes, I want. Okay, let's fucking go and do it. Holy crap. Super scary. But I did it. And I did it. And I did it. And I did everything I want to do. Every single program that I want to create. I created Money Magic. Oh my God, I'm speaking about money. I have always been so good with money. I've always had money. Not just money that I inherited, but money that I received through myself. But I had people being like, oh, you know, there's so many other people doing things about money. You shouldn't do that. Yes, I should. In the first Money Magic container, I had 20 people enrolling. 20 humans in my first container. Path to Profit, first container. I haven't announced it to anybody. Nobody. I just selected people, invited them on a conversation like this. 31 people in. First time. First time. The Empress program, people felt it. I embodied every single conversation. The women who were part of the Empress program, huge things happen in their life. They will never be the same. They will never, ever, ever be the same. And so the last piece was really holding space for all that. Because it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. In fact, the very first month was my lowest month in business. Lowest month. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my goodness, here we go. I will probably have to go back. This didn't work very well. But I didn't give up. I was like, seriously? Are you gonna do this? Like, you teach all your clients not to give up, and you're gonna give up? There were probably a good 1,000 times that I wanted to give up. That was back in March this year. I wanted to give up. It was, nope. But I didn't. April, holy cow, is this for real? May, holy pickles, is this for real? Like, the amount of expansion, the amount of people. I enrolled so many new one-on-one clients in my world, and it was on fire. It was on fire. What I embodied, the way I felt, and at that point I was going through a difficulty with my current partner in my relationship because He was in Canada. I'm right now in Canada. I was back in Europe. And it was so sad. We were separated physically. It was difficult. He was going through a tough moment. And I had to hold space for all of those emotions. New people coming in. So when my clients come to me, and when we start working on tremendous expansion, when people tell me I want to hit my first 6-figure month, I'm like, okay, that's awesome. Are you prepared for that? Like, are you prepared for more responsibility? I remember in May, I was just like mind blown of the volume of people and expansion, and just like, are you kidding me? I had moments when I just couldn't believe it, because I was in shit in March, and it took literally a few days. April, totally different. May, totally. June, things exploded. And from then, boom, boom, boom. 5-figure days. Transactions that I wouldn't even thought that will happen. People coming out of the blue. Literally. Like, people landing out of the blue, having a conversation, paid in full. Just like that. 6-figure months. 5-figure days. I've never taken so many days off in the last God knows how many years. Even this week, Monday was off. Last week, Friday was off. Weekend was off. Completely off. Like, I didn't touch my phone. And yet, people came this week in my world. But it wasn't about that. It was about that faith in me. Because in those months, there were days when things were not as great. There were days. People will come in my world. Yes, paid in full. Let's go and do it. 2 days after that, I don't think I can do this. Wait, what? Working for 1 month, I don't see the results. We started from zero. I can't guarantee results in 1 month. We started from zero. I'm not sure if I can do this. Yes, you can. Holding space. Transactions flopped. And a person is telling me, well, I tried to transfer the money twice and it didn't go through, and that's the universe telling me I shouldn't do it. Wait, what? Holding space again for that. Having people falling apart on calls. Wait, I have to hold space for that. Having people being sick, going through divorce. Wait, I have to hold space for that. Having people losing their loved ones. Wait, I need to hold space for that. Having a client who literally found that one of their team members was stealing money from her. Wait, I need to hold space for that. So much space. And I had to hold it for myself. My biggest stretch in playing big, and I think this is like, wow for me, is when in days like that feel like I need to pack my stuff and disappear, I will come back and I will be in full power. In days when there's no money transactions, there's days when there's no money transactions. There's days when there's 30,000 paid in full. There's days with hours, like bing, 8,000, bing, 6,000, bing, 3,000 in one day. And there's days with zero. Like, for example, this Monday, 0 sales. After that, Tuesday, Wednesday, yesterday, sales. But Monday, nothing, zero. And I still freak out in these days, and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? But I remember to come back and be like, hey, we're in for the long run. We're here to play big. You can do this. You can stretch. You can totally do that. You can totally hold space for people. You can hold space for your partner. You can hold space when you feel triggered and you want to attack, but instead you remain calm. Or when you want to give up because it's too much. Because here's the truth, you think it's all roses and flowers when money starts coming in? There's so much responsibility. Sometimes people will transfer you money and they expect the transformation immediately. Transaction for transformation. You know that toxic thing in the coaching industry now? Just because I transferred you money, I'm going to be in the energy and it's going to work. I've had a lot of situations like that, but I had situations where you need to do the damn work and we need to work together consistently. I had to be there to hold space for people when 2 months doesn't work, 3 months doesn't work, and we hold the space together for things to work in the 4th month, in the 5th month. I have a client who's crushing it this month, like crushing it, and we worked 6 months. And when we started working together, we had to burn everything down. We had to rebuild it. There was a lot of quiet months, and we were like, what's going on? And then it exploded this month. Exploded! Like, this person is enrolling clients every single day. And before that, click, 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 click. I had to hold space for that. You think I haven't? I had to be there in Voxer. I had to go to bed and pray for these people. I had to be there on the calls and choose the best fucking strategy for them. And I'd just be like, well, I took your money and go and do the thing. Like most does. And so I'm asking you right now, are you playing fucking big? Or are you playing small? Where are you playing small? Where? Where are you playing small? Are you playing small by all these thoughts in your head? It's not going to work out. Who am I to say that? Who am I to want that? I can't want that. I'm not going to be able to do that. It's never going to work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Are you playing small by going and choosing the cheapest option as a mentor? Or the worst, are you playing small by knowing you should invest in someone, but you're not, and you're just ghosting them, and you're checking what they're doing, and you do the same? I have people who I know are literally mimicking what I do, and it's not working. Well, duh, it's not gonna work. It's not that. Are you playing small by doing something once and it doesn't work, and you're like, I'm gonna give up? Are you playing small by doing something just because somebody told you should do something, and okay, I'm gonna do that? How are you playing small? Are you playing small by wanting to write that book, but you don't do it because who am I to write? I'm not a writer. I want to do that podcast, but I don't do it because who am I? I'm not a podcast person. I want to have an impact and I want to be the biggest, but look at her and look at him and look at them, and I can't be that. And so I'm going to steal content and I'm going to behave like them and I'm going to expect that it's going to work. Are you playing small by not being there for your clients? That's the worst. Like, your client paid you and you ghost them? You're not there? Are you playing small by allowing people to run over your boundaries? Doesn't matter who it is. Do you? It is up to us to choose. Who am I today? What is my ideal day? Today I woke up and I said, I'm going to live my ideal day. Like, if I was everything that I want to be, anybody who I want to be, I'm going to live my ideal day. And I did it, and I'm right here with you having this deep, deep conversation. Vulnerable conversation. Confessing things that I would have never confessed. Because that will be my ideal life. If I play big, this is how I'm going to play big. You have all of the ability to change the pattern, to change this scheme and the box and remold your life. You have it. Every single day you have the choice. Are you going to wake up and continue living through the pattern and the template of I'm small in your relationships with people, in your business, in who you are as a human being and as a soul? Are you going to allow the fears to run the show? And we have so many fears, and this is not even about business right now. Like fears of failing, fears of being not seen and recognized, fear of speaking your mind because somebody will laugh at you, fear of not sorry of not becoming. How many fear not becoming sorry, I've been speaking for like what, half an hour. How many of us fear that future version, but because we fear it, we don't become it? How many of you dream about that version? When you go to bed, you have dreams of that house, of who you want to be, of how you want to speak, of how you want to live your life, and then you wake up and then you fall back into the pattern. How many times you say next month I'm gonna be greater, and then you do the same shit. This launch I'm gonna fucking crush it, and then it is the same shit, and that's it. How many times do you do that? How many times you say this relationship is going to be different, and it's the same? This friendship is going to be different, and it's the same. This year is going to be different. We are approaching 2023, and we're like, it's going to be different, but it's the same. You can take radical responsibility and change all that. And if you want to do that, I invite you to be part of Playing Big Mastermind. Playing Big Mastermind is everything that I just shared with you in this last, 1 hour, condensed in 6 months. It's time to really play big. I want a world and a conversation going on continuously where people play big in all areas of their lives. It's time for such a huge upliftment. It's time to change the conversation. It's time to change how business is being done. When the conversation is not about these small conversations about what color scheme, what to do with this, but like getting into the deepest of the deepest. There are people who are running businesses and they still run the programs of childhood abuse, trauma, pain, all the stories playing in their heads. I want us to collectively work around these feelings, work around this conditioning. There's a reason why we are here right now. There is a big, big reason why you came right here, right now. And this is your invitation to play big. The mastermind Playing Big is about to start very soon. If you want to find out more, DM me, get in touch with me to send you all the details. There will be details also in the comments underneath this video. If you are watching this as a replay, if you're watching this on any other platform, if you're listening to this, this will be an ongoing project, Playing Big, because this is my life work. I'm going to leave you with one exercise that I want you to do after this live. I want you to go and sit for a moment and envision your future self. And how does he or she look like? How does your future self look like, feel like? What are they doing? And I've done that exercise so many times. And it just fills my heart with so much joy. In fact, I started doing this exercise a year and a half ago when I was envisioning my future self instead of living in the past. And I had my first 7-figure year in my business. So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And I'm going to see you again very soon. Bye.